It's unbelievable, I'm back again. I know it's been ages. It's a crazy little thing called Lovdev. Today's episode is 103. Murder on the sports floor. Oh my god, it's been so long I had to update the software of my Audacity, the software I use to record this podcast. That's how long it's been since I've done a recording. I even looked for the software on my computer and it was like, I don't think you've got this software, mate. Welcome back, guys. It's been so long. Too long. I've deserted all of you. I do apologise. I don't even need to explain myself. It's just been absolutely hectic, man. Like, I've been meaning to do it for so many... I can't even remember the last excuse. Do you know what? I can't remember what it was. I've had so many things come in the way of me recording my podcast. I don't even know whether I should still record my podcast. Like, I think to myself, that's it. I've lost all my listeners. They don't even care anymore. And then I get an update, right, from the service provider that I use, which is called Buzzsprout. And they send, like, weekly updates. So they sent me one a few days ago. And it said, this is your statistics for your podcast. And I was like, 98 downloads? Really? People are still downloading and listening to this podcast. Why? Why are you doing that? Why are you ruining your day by listening to me? Chatting nothing but... yeah, that. So how is everybody? I hope everyone is fit and well. I'm absolutely great, man. I feel fantastic. I'm in good shape. Well, the stomach's coming back again, but but the muscles are getting there. Yeah, they're getting there. So yeah, I haven't been away. In case you're all wondering where I've been, I have got some holidays coming up, which will prevent the recording of a podcast. But you guys know already that my podcasts are random. They're not even consistent, are they? They used to be. So tell you what it is, like, I've started using the old TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and all that. So I've started putting up clips of my set and when things happen at gigs. And interestingly, I had a very, very, very interesting gig a couple of weeks back with someone in the audience. Basically, they didn't agree with what I was saying. And I was like, why? They wasn't enjoying it. And I was like, why don't you like it? And they were like, oh, because you're offending ethnic minorities. And I'm like, but I'm an ethnic minority myself. I'm Asian. I'm allowed to talk about it. I had to put them into place. I've actually videoed it. What happened that day? I'm debating whether to put it online. Someone told me I should because it will go viral. I don't know, man. Maybe it would. For the people that were in the audience, they were all with me. They were all on my side, apart from this one person who didn't agree with what I was saying. And it was. To be honest, it was very interesting. Like, I was very interested in why. I wanted to hear what the person's view was of me and my material, why they didn't agree with some of the stuff I say. I mean, I know some people tell me, oh, you are a bit edgy, mate. You know, you got to be careful. But there's true stories, man. Like, they're true and twisted to an extent. But if we can't laugh at ourselves, who can we laugh at? Edit. Like I said, I don't want to keep talking about it, but yeah, comedy has definitely changed, man. People are like, oh no, you can't make fun of that. You can't make fun of pets. Like, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Absolute nonsense. yeah, I'm trying to think of things to say in the podcast. I mean, so much stuff has happened. Like, I've been working bank holidays and stuff. Yeah, there's too many bank holidays. I feel like there's one after another. Like, they've all come in a row, which isn't good for me. Like, for you guys, it's probably great because you probably have a full-time job. You get a salary and you get that day off. But for me, like, I don't get any holidays, so for any day is a holiday. Any day I'm not at work is a holiday for me. So I can work every day if I wanted to. Providing I'm within the hours. Otherwise, my agency will not be happy with that. But I mean, I got 2 full-time jobs, really, if you think about it. I do my caring stuff and I do comedy on the side. So sometimes I feel like I'm always working. Although a lot of you probably think, nah, comedy is not really work. It is work. You going out there, you got to drive to get there. You got to go on stage for a bit, then you got to come back. So it's always time consuming. But I do love doing it. Don't get me wrong. I want to find out what people love doing. So I'm going to go straight into Ask the UK. I've actually missed it. Like, I've been scrolling through the forums and looking at questions people have put up. And I've been going, oh, man, I could have answered that on my podcast. So, yeah, I'm going to look for one now and see what we get. Oh, actually, you know what? Before we do that, has anyone seen the Aldi advert? Those of you who don't know about it, basically, Aldi is a supermarket. These are for the non-UK listeners and abroad. Obviously, Aldi are everywhere now. I don't know what you guys call it in your country. Aldi, 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 God knows. Anyway, in the UK, there was an issue, right, with another supermarket, which is more for the middle class people because it's goddamn expensive. That's why. So another supermarket called Marks and Spencer have this cake, right, which is basically it's a caterpillar, and I can't remember what they call it. They call it Colin or Cuthbert, something like that. And Aldi, because they're legends as they are, they will copy everything in it. We all know that. So Aldi made this advert, right? Oh yeah, that was it. It was Marks and Spencer. They sued Aldi for copying their caterpillar cake. Whereas you can get them anyway, like other supermarkets do them. I'm sure Asda do their own, and Walmart for you guys. Asda, Lidl, they all do a similar cake, right? So Aldi made an advert of these caterpillars at a party eating a cake, and they're talking to Colin, I think it is, whoever it is, and they go, "Oh, don't look now, Cuthbert's here." And Cuthbert comes in. And then the next scene is the both fighting. That when I watched that advert, I was like, that is genius. I love it. I love how Aldi are like, we don't care, man. We're gonna make this advert. We're gonna throw it into Marks and Spencer's face. And for that reason makes me want to shop at Aldi even more. I bloody love that advert. It's so funny. If you haven't watched it yet, I'd watch it. I mean, obviously, you got to know about the story. I was talking to another friend of mine, and I was like, have you seen that Aldi advert? And he was like, no. And I was like, you really don't know about the court case that went through? You didn't even know that Marks and Spencer and Aldi went through court because of a caterpillar cake. So I told him, and I said, watch the clip. It's so funny. I'd love to be on the Aldi marketing team. Like, who thought of that? Who went, let's make an advert where we're fighting the Marks and Spencer caterpillar cake. That is genius, man. I'll take my hat off to Aldi for that. Right then, I just wanted to mention that before I forget, because that was something I wanted to talk about. So let's do an Ask the UK question. I hope it's kind of Aldi related. That'll be even funnier. I don't know why I chose it, to be honest. It's very controversial. Now, what I say might get me cancelled. The only reason I want to answer it is because I'll tell you why. Right. So the question, right, somebody's put up. His name is _Dean Riding. So by the way, these are all the questions regarding United Kingdom. So where I live in England, right? The question is put is, how do you feel about greyhound racing? Now, those of you who don't know what greyhound racing is, basically, it's dogs racing around a track. People go there to watch and put bets. So it's kind of like, it's basically like a horse bet, horse racing. But these involve dogs, which are breeds of greyhound. The very skinny dogs. They got long legs. They run quite fast. I don't think they're natural dogs, are they? Like, I mean, they were like genetically modified, were they? You know what I mean? Like they're breeded to run. So certain dogs are breeded in a certain way, like a Jack Russell. They're made to catch rats. They're known as rat catchers. German Shepherds are good for keeping police officers safe. But you get my drift. So each dog has a certain task, right? So these greyhounds, they're specifically designed to race. Now I've got a greyhound racing stadium where I live. So around the corner from my house, I can get there in 5 minutes in my car. There's a greyhound racing track, and sometimes I see it, and I've never been there. Like, sometimes I'll drive past and I'll hear people like shouting, and like they're in the stadium. It's not a big club, but it's big enough, I suppose, for dogs to run around. And occasionally they do have motorcycle racing around that track. And so those of you who don't know what a greyhound racing do, they put like this toy rabbit on a machine which spins round and round the stadium, and the dogs basically they chase that. What do I think about it? I have seen people protesting outside of these stadiums. Back in the days, I don't really see them now, unless they've actually stopped the greyhound racing there and they just do other stuff. I'm not too sure. It's a hard question to answer. Don't get me wrong, I am a dog lover. I've had dogs in the past. I haven't had one for years. Obviously, you guys know I've got a cat. She's worse than that. I love to see my cat running around a stadium. I don't think she'd run very fast, though, to be honest. Usually she'll run down the garden and stop halfway and then come back. And I'm like, you're just lazy. Stop being lazy. I think if you're the dog owner and you look after the dog and you're not putting them through too much stress and they enjoy doing it, I mean, it's hard to tell if a dog's enjoying what they're doing. But I don't really see anything wrong in that sense. But then I can see the other side of the cruelty where, dogs, like horses now, for instance, a lot of horses get killed, don't they? Or I don't know what it is, exhaustion. I'm not really into sports and racing and all that stuff, but I know when it was, what's that thing called that they have in the UK? Where all the people go for the horse racing. I forgot what it's called now. A lot of horses die from that. I don't know whether it's exhaustion or they get sick, they get injured. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what people don't like about the greyhound racing, is because the dogs get injured. I could be wrong. I think that's what it is. Is that right? I might have to read a couple of comments on this one. I'm not too sure. Now, he has actually put more down under his question, so I'll read what he's put down. He said, I'm going to my brother's stag do this weekend, and everyone decided to go to the greyhound racing in Newcastle. I'm not a massive fan of horse racing as it's due to the deaths. That's what I was saying. And honestly, I didn't even know dog racing was still even a thing. I feel a bit uncomfortable about it all, but obviously I'm still going to go because it's my brother's stag. I don't really know anything about greyhound racing. Is there anything I should be aware of before I go? So he's basically the same as me. So he doesn't really know much about it. He's probably a bit concerned whether it's safe to go. You probably end up going there and there'll be people protesting. That's probably what's going to happen. So I've had a look at the comments, as I mentioned earlier on. Some people have put, I had a rescue greyhound, a failed racer in brackets, that had a bunch of issues due to not being treated well when young. Not a fan of the sport at all. Basically, what people are saying is that it's cruel. So it's a similar sport to horse racing, I guess, as I mentioned earlier on. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Like I mentioned, there is a greyhound racing club by me, which is called Perry Bar Dogs. Yeah, I doubt I'll ever go in, to be honest. Right, so I wanted to mention, right, I've been scrolling down my Facebook to see what I can talk about. And I was at a gig a couple of weeks ago, yeah, and a fight broke out. Like a proper full-on fight. I didn't know what to do. Basically, we had the gig ended, and everyone was on their way out from the club. And there was these two women arguing, right? And she was going, what did you say about my mom? She was like, yeah, I could just see like these two women basically, right, arguing with each other. And I thought, what's happened, man? And the next thing you know, one of the girls headbutted the other girl. I was like, what? I was like, nah, man, this is a comedy night. You can't. I had to split it up. Security was called, and there was a massive row. So apparently, someone in the audience, she works in the healthcare sector, but she deals with people with skin and bone or something like that. And the other girl didn't like her job. I was like, what nonsense is that? How can you not like somebody for liking their job, for the job they do, should I say? And then she ended up headbutting the girl's daughter-in-law. I was like, that's just like what is alcohol is just wrong, isn't it? Alcohol makes you want to fight. Now I'm glad I stopped drinking now. I don't even think about it anymore. I've been alcohol free now for nearly 15 months. That's a long time, isn't it? That's a long time without alcohol. Alright, occasionally I'll think, I could do with a nice bit of rum. And then that thought goes. That's the devil inside me telling me to drink. I just don't think about it. I don't need it no more. Like, I've saved so much money now. Although I don't have any money, I'll be honest. My money is going elsewhere on other things. But yeah, man, that's what happened at a gig. Absolute crazy. If you're going to go to a comedy gig, go and enjoy yourself. Don't go end up fighting at the end of it. There is no point for you to be at that comedy night if that's what your whole intention was, to fight. I think people have just got issues and they take it out on other people. I think that's generally what happens. And that's a frigging shame, in my own opinion. So I'm going to move swiftly on to the No Stupid Questions. I love doing No Stupid Questions because they are random. Today's post has been posted by Ashley Hontas. No idea. Anyway, Ashley Hontas asked the question, can you be charged for murder or manslaughter if you accidentally kill someone in a sporting event? Can you get charged for murder or manslaughter if you accidentally kill somebody in a sporting event? What, like cricket? So if somebody was playing cricket and they threw the cricket ball too high and the batsman missed it and didn't wear a helmet and it hit his head and it killed him, I don't think you'd get charged for murder, would you? Because that's more or less an accident. Unless you knew he didn't put on his helmet and you threw it anyway so it can reach his head. It's debatable, isn't it? That's one of the reasons I don't do any sport, is in case somebody accidentally kills me. I remember when I was young, I used to play basketball in school, right? And the hardest kid in school, his name was Adrian. And Adrian was massive, man. He was tall, he was like 6'6". He was built like a brick house. And he was the hardest kid in the school, right? And I was on his basketball team. I remember playing basketball, and he kept saying, pass me the ball, pass me the ball, pass me the ball. And I didn't pass it right. So like a brave soldier I took a shot, a 3-pointer. I took it. And I'll never forget it. You know, like when everything slows down. That's what it felt like. Everything slowed down, and all I could do was his voice going, "If you miss that, I'm going to kill you." And I was like, oh my God, I'm dead if that doesn't go in. And I remember the ball hitting off the board. It bounced off the ring, and it bounced off the ring again. And like when you know the ball's going to go in the net, or you're not sure if it does? It was that kind of moment. And it actually went through, and I was the happiest man in the school at the time. And he just looked at me and nodded his head to say, "You survived." Oh man, I was petrified before I took that shot. But I was so confident I'll make it in. I don't know, man. Maybe there was an angel on my side and it just kind of pushed the ball in. Because it knew I was a dead man. I could have died that day. I'll never forget it. It's a good question, though. Could you die? Could you get charged for killing someone accidentally in a sporting event? It depends, I suppose, if you're fighting, if you're boxing, if you're doing MMA or wrestling, and you use a technique that's not allowed in the fight, and you accidentally kill them, you probably would get charged, innit? I don't know, man. Would you reckon that could happen? Some people have put, I would guess, involuntary manslaughter, but no jail on parole. I'm guessing this is all American. Someone else has put, I don't think so. In pro fights and events, I'm pretty sure there are exceptions made through contracts and agreements. Oh, I didn't think of that. If this guy accidentally kills you or injures you, then it's down to the fight. Probably. I'm sure there's got to be a fight in history, an event where people have actually died in a sporting event. There's got to be. I'll be very surprised if no one has died for an event. Innit? Yeah, there's got to be, man. It's a good question, though. Yeah, I suppose it just depends on the event, I suppose, and what they used. If you're having a sword fight and you accidentally chop the guy's hand off or his head off, then yeah, I mean, I can't see you getting charged for it. I don't know. It's a good question, but I just wanted to share my story about me and Adrian playing basketball. Right, I think it's that time we should end the podcast with a weird news story. That's right, the podcast has already finished. Anyway, let's do today's story, which has come all the way from India. Today's story is sunscreen for car. A homeopathic doctor coats the car with cow dung to beat the heat. That's right, a doctor has covered his car with cow dung. What is the world coming to? So, a homeopathic doctor from Sagar, a city in Madhya Pradesh, has devised a way to keep his car cool against the growing heat. Sushil Sagar, shout out to Sushil Sagar, who is currently posted at Kurai Civil Hospital, has plastered his car with cow dung. While explaining his approach to news agency, the doctor said, "It often happens in the summer. That's the sheet on top of the car. It draws heat and increases the temperature inside the car." By applying cow dung coating, the inside temperature of the car does not rise. The heat that is felt while sitting inside the car during the summer is avoided with this. Sushil Sagar added that since the car remains cool because of cow dung coating, the AC works better and faster. He also claimed that the simple cow dung coating can last for around 2 months, if not disturbed by water. As the video of Sushil Sagar's unique approach went viral on Instagram, many citizens appeared unconvinced by his trick. Commenting on the video in which Sagar drives his car and explains the heat-resistant properties of cow dung, an Instagram user wrote, "Honestly, he seems like a nice man with his heart in the right place, but I think his mind is affected being around by Gobar." I don't know what go bar is. Another person said, it's a height of nonsense. Another one has put, I don't know if it'll work on a car, but in a village, we have been using cow dung for many years on walls, which cools the inner temperature of a house. There you go. That was today's weird news story. And that was today's podcast. I know it's been so long now, Dev. Might just do another one, to be honest. Right, here we go, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. This has been a crazy little thing called Lovdev.